Okay, so we are marking exercise 17.3 at number 1. It says a certain number. Now, if we don't know what that number is, we make it x. It's not wrong if you used y or a or b, but just a variable, right? A certain number multiplied by 3. So you will see that I said 3x because that's 3 times x. And then decreased by 2. There you'll see I decreased by 2 is equal, if the answer is 16, so that's why I make it equal to 16. What would that number be? So then once we got that equation, it's normal simplification. So we take the minus 2 over and it becomes plus 2. That's how I go from 16 to 18. Camille, mark. Right, then I've got to get rid of the coefficient. So I divide by 3. And 18 divided by 3 gave me that 6. You guys good? Yeah. Good. Now, number 2 was a bit more difficult. Yeah. Number 2, number 2 said, my brother is 6 years older than I am. So, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the you in the textbook. Do we know how old that person is? No. So that person we're going to call X. Meaning the brother would then be X plus 6. Do you understand? Yes. Okay. Now, they say that my brother, our combined age. So here you'll see I took my age and my brother's age and I combined them. I added the two. Right? Our combined age is half the age of our grandfather, and our grandfather is 68. So I said half times the 68. You guys good there? Okay, now let's just simplify that equation. The x plus x will give me 2x, and then plus 6, and half of 68 was the 34. Okay, then if I take this plus 6 over, it will become minus 6, and that means it would be 28. Then from there, I've got to get rid of the coefficient of 2. Now, if I take that times 2 over, it will become divided by 2, and 28 divided by 2 is 14. Okay, which means that I am 14. Yes. And my brother is 20 years old. Okay. Any questions? Hold on. Are you guys done? Anyone still copying here?
No.
Quickly mark number 3.
I was late, ma'am, because I was still busy with my opening test. I was starting, ma'am, I didn't finish, ma'am, because I was right behind. Then I asked Gordon, and they said I had Afrikaans, ma'am. And I went to Afrikaans. I sat down, and I was like, I saw E1, ma'am, and I was like, Mr. Jacobs asked me, why am I here? I was like, so I thought I had Afrikaans. And he was like, just go tell your math teacher it was an accident, and then she can check with me, ma'am. So, ma'am, was my E1, the accident of Afrikaans class. I thought we were Afrikaans, so I don't have a time to know. My people in my class.
Wie is die Afrikaans juffrou?
No, she's not here. It's Mr. Jacobs, student teacher. Because Mr. Ivan Week's not there.
En by wie het jy jou toets klaar geskryf?
Miss Alice.
So when the bell rang, were you still busy writing?
Yes, ma'am. I just finished handing it, ma'am. Like after 2 or 3 minutes after the bell rang, when I handed it in, and most of my class left, ma'am. Then school is still there, and quite told me that Afrikaans.
Ek het net nou dat jy dit sê.
Ma'am, but this, ma'am, I've been on time, but recently, I just thought that Afrikaans.
That's it. Number 3. Number 3 says a number squared. So that number, I don't know how much it is. So I'm going to say x squared. No? A number squared and then doubled. Now, if you double something, it's the same as times 2, right? So that's why I say 2 times that x squared. Does it make sense? Okay. Is equal to 242. Okay, so that's obviously just equal to 242. Now, I've got to work out what that number is. So first step would be get rid of the 2 in front. So I'm going to say divide by 2, and that's how I get the 121. Now I want to get rid of the square. And what's opposite of square?
Root.
Square root. No. Okay, now square root of 121. People, be very, it's not just 11. It can be positive or negative 11. Why? Because, and we had that earlier on in the year when we did that exponent chapter. Positive 11 times positive 11 gives me 121, right? But negative 11 times negative 11, the negative times the negative also gives me positive 121. Right? So we don't know. That square root of 121 can be either negative 11 or positive 11. Okay, so when you get something like that in the test, how we mark it is we give a mark for the plus minus and a mark for the 11. So you've got to write the plus minus. It's always when it's a even root. So meaning square root or fourth root or sixth root or eighth root. Can you see? That's actually a 2, eh? So can you see all these numbers are even numbers? Then you know it must be plus minus at your answer. Okay. Right. Can I skip? Okay. Now, what I want to do next. Now we have to factorize or solve equations by using factorizing. So I am now combining what we've done so far with that previous chapter where we also factorized. Right? Okay. Now, I know. You guys can quickly copy what I've written down there so long. Yeah. Yeah, write down everything there. I'm going to fill in the rest just now. Right. Factorize. Oh, use zero rule to solve x or brackets. Okay, right. Okay, Noe. What we do is, step 1, make sure everything is on one side and equal to 0. So far, I've given it to you like that. But you are going to get examples just now where it's not equal to 0. And then you have to move everything. We usually move it to the left-hand side, right? So that we will have equal to 0. We won't be able to solve our equation if it's not equal to 0. And you'll understand why just now. Okay, now, you guys know that anything multiplied with 0 will also be not to the power of. Anything times 0 will be 0. No. Okay. So we are basically going to use that rule. So what we do is, you will see that I have two brackets here. Né? Don't write this. I'm just explaining and then I'll do. Hold on. We have two brackets here. So what I do is, I'm going to make this first bracket 0. I'll show you just now how we're going to do that. So the second bracket will stay the same. Now, 0 times what's written in that bracket. It doesn't really matter what's written in that bracket, because 0 times that will still be 0. No. Okay, that's one option. Or, other option is, okay, let's keep the first bracket like it was. But the second bracket, I make 0. Do you guys agree that then my equation would also be equal to 0? No. Okay, so that is why at step 3, I say use 0 rule to solve x. Okay, so this is basically what I mean. So let me show you how are we going to do that. We said let's make that first bracket equal to 0. So I'm going to say x plus 2, that was inside the bracket, make it equal to 0. Now, you fine with that? Now, I can take that plus 2 over. So it means that x will be minus 2. And have a look, if this was minus 2, it would be minus 2 plus 2, and it gives me 0. Do you understand? No. So then that first bracket will be 0. Any questions? Okay, now, what I want you so that's one option. Now, because we have a second option, it's not like we're going to use both at the same time. It's either the one or the other one, and that's what I want you. You have to say or. You can't say and, no, because I'm not going to use both at once. I either use the method that I make the first bracket 0 or make the second bracket 0. Okay, so let's make the second bracket 0. So x minus 3 will be equal to 0. So if I take that minus 3 over, it means that x will be 3. Does it make sense? So then this equation, then that's it. You get 2 marks here. You get a mark for the minus 2, you get a mark for the 3. Okay? I'm going to do the second one as well. We've got 6 examples that we're going to do. Me too. Kyk hoe vinnig was die eerste ene. That's it. That's the answer. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Hold on. Okay. So example 2. You guys can already, some of you might already be able to tell me what the answer is. No? Yeah, what will be the answer?
Minus 1.
That's it. See? Yeah? That's it. See? Okay, so let's just look at our steps again on the right-hand side. Step 1 says, make sure everything is on one side and equal to 0. Do we have that? Yes. Yeah? Kyk daarso, né? Right. Step 2 says, factorize. We didn't have to because it was already factorized. Né? Okay. Step 3. Use the 0 rule to solve x. Okay, so I'm going to take this bracket and make it equal to 0. Ja man, kom nou begin die pen weer snaakse sittertjies maak. Hy het nou net lekker gewerk. So plus 1 equal to 0. We take the 1 over, so x will be minus 1. Please make sure you write all. Then if I take that second bracket, make that one equal to 0. So we take the minus 5 over. So x will be positive 5. There we go. 2 marks. You must do both. Yes. It's a mark each. Yeah? Yes. In metric, they subtract a mark. Yeah. Because it's metric. Okay. Can I skip people?
No.
You done? Anyone else still copying? Finish? You done? Okay. Right, let's look at this one. So now, there's an example of where it's not equal to 0. So our first step was take everything to one side and make it equal to 0, no? So, which means that, do you guys agree that that has got to move to the other side? No. Okay, so I am going to have 2x squared, wie vra but y? Okay, have a look. Step 1 over here. Make sure everything is on one side and equal to 0. Remember, we use that 0 rule, no? Because if I didn't move it over, okay, Chloe, my answer here is minus 30. There's too many options. This can be 10 times 3, or 15 times 2, or 5 times 3. So there's too many options. Do you understand? So I want to get rid of those. Okay? That's why we make it equal to 0, because then there's only one option. Okay. Right, so we take it over. That minus 30 will become plus. Will become plus 30. Oh, I did. Ek het my Irene is ook al weer papperig. That's right. Ugh. Okay. Right. So plus 30 equal to 0, no? Right. Now step 2 says factorize. But there's one problem here. There's a coefficient in front of the x squared. How did we do what did we do then? We took it out as a common factor. Do you remember that? No? You must now try and remember factorizing. So take out a common factor of 2. So I'll have x squared, yes, plus 8x plus 15 equal to 0. Now, that is a what? I divided by 2. Let's go still. Come on. Okay? But I need everyone to be quiet, want ek gaan nie staan en gil teen julle wat op julle eie aangaan nie. If you get what's going on or if you're not interested, jy's baie welkom om daar te deur. Maar jy gaan nie hier staan en remoer dat almal nie kan hoor nie. Alright, so you will see that that is a trinomial because I've got x squared, x, and then a normal number. But that coefficient we don't want. Okay? So we then said, take it out as a common factor. So there I show, I take out my common factor. I start with a new bracket. Now, previously, and I'm going to show that here at the bottom because I think you might understand it better that way. Yeah. Yeah. Hoekom? Is jou naam Eminati?
Yes. No, babe. You think it's funny?
Waaroor? 'n Handboek. Okay, nou haal sommer net die handboek uit. Dan hoef jy nie uit te gaan nie. Right. So, listen. When I take out a common factor of 2, it's the same as dividing each one of them by 2. Yes. So now over here, can you see x squared is left? Do you see that? Okay. Over here, 16 over 2 will give me 8x. No. And then 30 over 2 will give me 15. Does it now make sense where the 2 comes from? Xavier? Okay. Right. Now, once we get there, once we get there, I want you guys to see that now I have a trinomial that I can go and factorize. Okay. So, that first part, the 2 is going to stay there. I know that it would now be 2 brackets. Okay. Now, because that's a plus, I know it will be, my brackets will be x plus off x minus x minus. How do we decide? We look at that one. So what will it be? Plus plus. So x plus. Okay. Now I have to use factors of 15 to get 8. Do you remember? Okay. So what is factors of 15? That will be 15 times 1. 5 times 3. That's it. Can I use 15 and 1 to get to 8? 5 and 3 I can use. No? So that will be x plus 5, x plus 3. Okay? Okay, because we looked at factors of 15. There we had them. No? And I've got to use those to get 8. And 5 plus, so plus 5 plus 3 gave me 8. So that's why I say plus 5 plus 3. Yeah, that was just the method how we factorize, because now when I go and multiply back in, which we're not going to do now, but if I did, okay, x times x would give me the x squared. X times 3, 3x. 5 times x, 5x. So 3x, 5x, 8x. Nee. Yeah. Right. Is julle reg? And now I can say, okay, this bracket, make it equal to 0. So x will be minus 5. Or make that bracket equal to 0. So x will be minus 3. I just want to quickly say this 2. That's not going to influence anything, no? Because 2 times, let's say I make the first bracket 0. 2 times 0 will still give me 0. Times that bracket, still 0, no? So that 2 doesn't change anything. Yeah. Over here you would get for common factor and factorizing, and then this one and 4 marks. Okay, you guys good? Yeah. 4 marks, yeah. Klaar. Right, look at example 4. you will see that now we don't have two brackets, but x times that x plus 2 is the same as when I put that x in its own brackets. No, because it's still multiplied with the second bracket. No. So it just makes you see it easier. So that we then say x, and we make that bracket equal to 0. Couldn't go any further. That's it. No? So, or, now let's do the second one. X plus 2 equal to 0. So x will be how much? Minus 2. Can you guys see that it's actually fairly easy, no? Yeah. You do it, yeah. I'm not going to fill it in. No, you don't get a mark for brackets, no. You must know, you get a mark for the 0 and for the minus 2.
Basically, maths is not exciting, like maths. So math, when you graduate to teach for maths, does that mean you fully mastered the art of solving problems?
Ja, want hou mens leer maar konstant nog. Okay, can I skip people? Okay, now the next two is a bit more difficult. No, same steps. No? It's just I'm challenging you guys a bit. Do you want to try number 5 on your own?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Same steps. We have to have it equal to 0, but that was already done.
You say the next step is hard.
Ja, maar dis net so bietjie jy moet mooi dink. Dis al. Okay. Do.
No.
Kom. Remember, we make the bracket equal to 0, no? So 2x minus 1 equal to 0. And then just solve it. Did you make each bracket equal to 0? Can you make it equal to 0? Did you?
It's a fraction.
And then you it's a fraction. Solve it. Make it equal to 0. Write it down. Because that's a mark. When you just say it's equal to 0.
I knew the answer before I even did the exam.
Right, people? Okay, so step 1. Listen. Step 1 says, make sure. Step 1 is I kick you out. You step 2. Step 1 is I make sure everything is on the left and it's equal to 0. Is that the case? Yeah. Okay. Step 2 was factorize. I didn't have to because it was already factorized. Then step 3 is make each bracket equal to 0. Okay. So x plus 4 equal to 0, which means that x will be minus 4. Okay. You have to have or. Then let's take second bracket, make it equal to 0. So 2x will then be equal to positive 1. Now I've got to divide that by that 2. So x will be a half. No, who got that? Good. Okay, now example 6, last one. Listen. Step 1 says everything to the left equal to 0. Is that done? Yeah. Okay. Step 2 says what?
Factorize.
Can I factorize this?
Yeah.
What can I do?
The completion method.
But what must I do? Will it be a common factor? Will it be difference in 2 squares? Will it be of how much?
2.
Okay, so let's take out 2 as a common factor. Shh, come. Everyone wants to concentrate and listen. So then I will have x squared minus 4. Remember, you've got to divide it by that 2, ne? So who's not with me up until there? Everyone good? Okay. Are we done factorizing? Okay, what can we do? What x thing? Have a look at the bracket. Can't I factorize that further? Yeah? Who wants to help?
Me.
Yeah?
If I put the difference there.
Difference in 2 squares. Have a look, Camille. That one. No? Can you see I've got 2 terms? There's a minus in between and I can get square root of each. So then it's that difference in 2 squares. No? So this will be 2 new brackets. No, plus minus. Yeah. So one with a plus, one with a minus. Square root of x squared is x. And square root of the 4 is 2. You guys fine with that? Okay. Now we factorized fully. Now what's our last step? We make each bracket equal to 0. So if I do that one, x plus 2 will be, yeah, that 2 we ignore, yes. So x will be minus 2. Ooh, you can't see the minus, but it's a minus 2, ne? And over here, if I take that bracket, make it equal to 0, x will be positive. Yeah, so do you guys, that's as difficult as it's going to get. Okay, are you guys okay? Yes. Right, your homework.
Homework Friday, man.
Yeah.
Friday.
Now work and what's not done becomes homework. Yeah. So exercise 17.4, you guys are only going to do number 1, 2, and 3. Leave out 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I'll skip that to let you come. Yeah. Right. Any questions?